Before every great idea there was silence. Before every light there was shadow. Welcome to PHI Chronicles, where philosophy becomes reflection and reflection becomes life.
In the heart of ancient Athens, a city that once taught the world to question, a man now stands accused of questioning too much. Socrates, a stonemason turned seeker of wisdom, faces the very democracy he helped shape. His weapon is dialogue. His crime is truth itself. The year is 399 BCE. Athens, wounded by war and political chaos, needs stability, not voices that stir unrest. 3 citizens, Meletus, Anytus, and Lycon, step forward. Their charge, that Socrates corrupts the youth and denies the gods of the city. But beneath the accusation lies something deeper: fear. Fear of a man who forces others to think, too deeply, too freely. In truth, it is not Socrates on trial, it is Athens. A city born from reason now turns against its own mirror. For Socrates, to question the world is not rebellion. It is devotion to wisdom, to truth, to the divine reason that breathes within every soul. His students adored him: Plato, Xenophon, Alcibiades, each carrying fragments of his thought into history. But to the powerful, Socrates planted dangerous seeds. He taught the youth to ask, why? Why do we believe? Why do we obey? Why do we fear? And for those who ruled by tradition, that was intolerable. They summoned him before 500 jurors. He could have fled. He could have begged. But instead, he prepared his defense not with lies, but with faith in reason.
I have done nothing wrong. I only seek to awaken minds from their sleep.
As Athens prepares to silence its philosopher, something profound unfolds. The first great confrontation between truth and society, between the thinker and the state, between conscience and law. This was not the trial of a man, but the trial of free thought itself. And as the first day of his trial began, Socrates smiled. He knew that even if his body would perish, his question would live forever.
The unexamined life is not worth living.
The murmurs fade. Athens holds its breath. Before the greatest democracy in history stands the first philosopher of conscience. No lawyer, no scrolls, only his words and the truth. This is not a plea for mercy. It is a defense of the human mind.
I am accused of corrupting the youth, he begins. But if I make them think, is that corruption or education?
He reminds the court of the oracle at Delphi how the god declared there was no one wiser than Socrates. Not because he knew everything, but because he knew that he knew nothing.
And so he tells Athens, my mission is divine. I seek to awaken your souls.
When Meletus accuses him of atheism, Socrates smiles gently.
How can I be an atheist, he asks, if I believe I am guided by a divine sign, a voice that warns me when I am about to err?
Logic against accusation, wisdom against ignorance, one man against the crowd. Yet even now, Socrates knows his words will not save him. For the danger is not his teaching, it is his courage to live it. He could flatter the jury, he could soften his tone, but he will not betray the truth to survive another day.
To fear death, he says, is to think we know what we do not. No one knows whether death may not be the greatest good.
He speaks not just to Athens, but to time itself.
Or perhaps someday men will understand that a life guided by reason, by virtue, by dialogue, is the only life truly worth living.
And so the philosopher defends not himself, but the soul of humanity. When the questioning ends, Socrates has given them everything: truth, reason, and the example of courage. He will not beg, he will not weep. He stands in peace, ready to accept whatever verdict comes. For in this moment, the greatest victory is not freedom, but integrity. Thus ends the defense of Socrates, the first philosopher to prove that truth needs no armor and conscience no reward. When reason speaks with courage, its echo becomes eternal. Hours have passed, arguments fade into murmurs, and now Athens must decide the fate of its philosopher. A man who questioned everything now stands at the mercy of those who fear the questions. 500 citizens, each casting judgment with a pebble. No blood, no swords, just a choice between wisdom and comfort. When the counting ends, the voice of the many condemns the voice of reason. By a narrow margin, Socrates is found guilty. There are moments when silence speaks louder than applause. Socrates does not plead for pity. He does not bow his head. He smiles, because he knows that truth has never depended on votes. Socrates rises to address the court one final time.
If you think that by killing me you can prevent the reproaches of your lives, you are mistaken. There will be more to question you, younger, sharper, and you will not be able to silence them all.
The seeds of philosophy are immortal. For every voice condemned, 1,000 awaken. In condemning Socrates, Athens condemned itself. A democracy born from debate now feared the very freedom it once cherished. History would remember this not as justice, but as tragedy. The sentence is read, "Death by Hemlock." Yet even as death stands before him, Socrates shows no anger, only peace. For the wise man fears not the end, but the loss of integrity. And so Athens prepares to silence its philosopher, but the world begins to listen. The verdict has been spoken, but justice remains unsatisfied. Socrates may fall by the vote of men, but the spirit of reason, once awakened, will never again be silent. In the stillness of his cell, the philosopher waits. No crowds, no jurors. Only silence and truth. For Socrates, this is not a prison. It is a classroom of the soul. His friends come to beg him to escape. They have bribed the guards. The door could open tonight.
If I flee, he says, what would that teach the city? That truth bends to fear? That philosophy runs from death?
Even in chains, he refuses to betray reason. He is freer than those who condemn him.
In his final days, Socrates speaks of the soul. He tells them that true philosophers spend their lives preparing for death. For death is not an end, but a release. The body is a distraction, he says. It binds us to hunger, to fear, to pain. But the soul, it longs for what is eternal.
Plato listens in silence, engraving every word into memory. One day, he will call this dialogue Phaedo. He tells them that all his life a divine voice has guided him, not to command, but to warn. And now, as death approaches, the voice is silent.
Therefore, he smiles, I know this path must be right.
To the last moment, his faith is not in gods of marble, but in the order of reason, the harmony of the universe. The chains that hold his body cannot bind his spirit. He speaks with serenity, not sorrow. Because to the wise, freedom is not a place, it is a state of mind.
Better to die justly, he says, than to live unjustly.
That night, Plato writes down every word, knowing that one day the world will need them. He realizes what Athens cannot see, that this man, condemned by the city, has already entered immortality. And as dawn arrives, the philosopher smiles once more. He has taught his final lesson, that the soul of truth cannot be imprisoned, and wisdom does not die. It transforms. For those who seek the truth, chains are temporary, but freedom is eternal. It is morning, the final day of Socrates' life. The city stirs beyond the stone walls, unaware that philosophy itself is about to be tested by death.
Do not weep. No evil can happen to a good man.
His companions can no longer hold back their tears. They plead with him, to delay, to escape, to pray for pardon.
My friends, we must part. You to live and I to die. And which of us goes to the better fate? Only the gods know.
Even as death approaches, he turns their fear into contemplation. The jailer, trembling, brings the poison. No executioner's cruelty, only the quiet ritual of the law. Socrates takes the cup, his hand steady, his gaze filled with peace. He lifts it to his lips and drinks. The poison begins to work. Coldness rises slowly through his body, and yet his voice remains serene.
Crito, we owe a rooster to Asclepius. Do not forget to pay the debt.
To the god of healing, he offers gratitude as if death itself were a cure. His chest rises one last time, then stillness. But in that silence, something eternal awakens. The mind of Socrates passes beyond time, into the realm of ideas he had always spoken of. The body lies in Athens, but the soul walks among the stars. Plato will carry his teacher's voice into eternity. Through his dialogues, the wisdom of Socrates will shape every age, from Aristotle to today. For though a city killed him, the world still listens. His question remains the same, and it still asks each of us, what is the good life? Thus ends the life of the man who refused to stop thinking. A man who met death not as an enemy, but as a philosopher meets the truth, face to face. And as long as humanity dares to question, the voice of Socrates will never die.